Let's be honest, we don't know anything about our elected officials. They're hidden behind curated social media profiles and press releases to the point that they often seem barely human. We're here to break down those barriers and get under the hood of their real character. Our guest today is Tracy Zur, a freeholder in Bergen County, New Jersey. My name is Scott Salmon, and this is Politically Driven. Was your family at all political?
So, we grew up with, my grandfather emigrated to this country 1948, and my father was like the first, he and my uncle were the first to get a college education.
Okay.
So there was definitely this kind of spirit of like, you make a difference, you make an impact in your community. And he was very involved in the Jewish community within Bergen County. He did run for office and was a councilman for one term when I was in high school.
In what town?
In Woodcliff Lake.
Okay.
And it was interesting because it was the first real campaign experience I had was
how old
stuffing.
were you?
I was 15.
15, okay.
15. And he put into effect the first recycling in like ever.
Really?
And the fact that he made our neighbors wash their garbage and sort it wasn't super popular at the time.
I can imagine.
But kind of prescient for where things were going as far as recycling is concerned. So he was he won the first race by 24 votes.
Oh my God.
And lost the second one by 6. It was the absentee ballots to all the kids he coached on the softball team that made the difference.
Interesting. So now, you were old enough then to clearly remember the first campaign.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did they have you doing on that campaign?
Oh, I was the chief organizer for all of the high school GOTV.
Oh, really?
I went through all the old yearbooks.
You're the reason he won.
I was the reason he won. It was a really eye-opening thing, though, for me that government could do something that was impactful.
Absolutely.
And you really get to know your community in a different way, too, when you run for office. But I think it definitely planted a seed for us, and we were always kind of understanding that community was important.
Now, did you guys discuss the news at the dinner table? Was that kind of family?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Dinner was at 7 o'clock when Dad got home from work. We sat down. It was not only the news of the day, but it was very like.
Was it just like this is what's going on, or was it like this is what's your opinion on this?
I think it was a combination of both. I think it was definitely. I think as we got more engaged ourselves in what was going on in the world, as we were reading more, what are you reading? What's going on for you at school was part of the conversation.
Interesting. Okay.
But we definitely did. News was a staple. Always thought I wanted to be a lawyer, and it really more so in high school as I kind of emerged into that whole debating thing. I was a good arguer, and that I thought equaled lawyer. We grew up watching LA Law, and and you think that this is what the career in the law is going to be.
Yeah.
It's not, but that's what you think it's going to be. Through law school, I was really fortunate. I got to work at a firm where it was a small criminal defense, white collar criminal defense firm, and very hands-on.
Is up here in North Jersey or
in Manhattan?
Manhattan, okay.
And some kind of big cases, that were going on in the firm at the time. And so it really did give you an exposure to it, but that's a fraction. That's just such a small fraction of what being an attorney is.
Yes.
I was then a municipal court judge for 5 years in our Central Municipal Court in Hackensack.
Is that fun at all? I'm not putting this on, but
so
was that
much
fun?
Okay. But we'll talk about that next.
Yeah.
But then I was the prosecutor in Hoboken and Passaic, and those actually were probably what I enjoyed the most.
I would say I imagine that would be a fun job.
Yeah.
Or that could be a fun job.
Because it really is figuring out what justice it should be.
Right.
As a judge, you're a little bit tied to the guidelines of what is before you.
Right.
As a prosecutor, you get to really look at the facts of the case and see where, what is appropriate and what should be meted out.
Makes sense.
I really had that desire to wear that white hat and be the prosecutor. I think that there's so much more to it than that. It's not just locking people up and throwing in the key. It's figuring out how we can use justice in the right way.
Right. Okay.
And I think for me, when my judgeship ended, I was trying to figure out what was next before I decided to run for office.
Which
We're going to go a little straighter. It's beyond the entry for the. Sorry.
What town were you the municipal judge for?
I was Central Municipal Court in Bergen County. Is one of the few county-wide level municipal courts.
Oh, interesting.
Cases that were generated out of the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's department, the Bergen County Police,
Okay.
as well as the ASPCA, all of weights and measures,
Oh my gosh.
all that kind of stuff. The stuff that kind of doesn't fit anyplace else
Right.
ends up in Central Municipal Court.
Oh, interesting.
As you do with anything in the law, when you legislate, you get to make impact on a policy level.
Yes.
And for me, that's really, I decided after my judgeship to go ahead and get a master's in public administration.
Oh, okay.
And that was kind of what opened my eyes to the fact that
You can make it a lot bigger.
This is
Right.
what made sense for me.
There was someone a while back that asked me why I would want to get involved in politics when you can do a lot of good things as just as an ordinary person, or if you're in business or whatever it is. I remember thinking there's nothing like government. There's nothing that can create good on the scale that government can do.
It's true,
Unless you have like Jeff Bezos money or something like that, you're never gonna be able to impact on the same scale that.
You're gonna get off here.
I mean, even as a freeholder, just the number of people where everything you're doing is impacting.
I had a conversation very early on when I became a freeholder. We had a post-21 program.
Okay.
And one of the things we're heading to right now is to show you where the new home to this program is. For adults with disabilities,
Gotcha.
the services up to the time that they're 21 are great. And then kind of when they age
see.
out of the school system's responsibility, the services are much more
they're on their own
patchworky.
kind of thing, and
It falls off a cliff. The day the school bus stops is something that parents dread for most kids with disabilities. So we had a program that was running in conjunction with Friendship House, which is a non-for-profit. It was it's more than a sheltered workshop now.
Okay.
But they there was maxed out. There was no space left, and I said to the head of the school system, "So what is the impediment?
Right.
What do you have the funding? What's holding us back?" And he said, "We don't have the space." And so he and I started brainstorming, and I realized we have a campus of our community college that focuses more on the night program.
Oh, sure.
And so I called up the president of the college and I said, "Hey, do you happen to have 2 rooms available?"
Right.
And she did, and we were able to get all 17 families off the wait list.
Wow.
And it was one of those things where, with a phone call and some brainstorming
Right.
and looking at from the purview of a freeholder, to connect the dots within the county, like one phone call, we were able to help 17 families and hopefully provide opportunities for those kids that they would not have had otherwise.
Exactly. What made you choose freeholder? Why not? Because most people in New Jersey have no idea what a freeholder
Nobody
is.
knows what a freeholder is. It's actually one of the most frustrating and humorous components of campaigning.
I gotta
is
imagine.
Like, you're not only just running for office, you're running to tell people what the heck we do in government.
What the office is.
You make a left here.
Right. If you tell someone you're running for town council, they can figure out what it is you do.
I said to my mom, I was running for freeholder, and she had no idea what I was talking about. But this is, by the way, speaking of things I'm proud of, this building is something that we just built a couple years ago, opened. It is our new building for special services in Bergen County. This provides our New Bridge High School and our middle school, and it also provides an adult program that is run, which gives life skills, job training skills, and really kind of sets kids up to be able to succeed. We're going to be doing a program with Rutgers, where we're going to be training like the next level, the next generation of Quincy's, here in Bergen County. We're going to be a forensic education component of Rutgers, so that we'll provide for all of the autopsies and what have you. And this is also our school for those who have physical disabilities as well as other.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a campus of
really.
county services here. We actually have shared services arrangements with all 70 municipalities doing different things. Some of it's like lending equipment that they might need once a year. Some of it is providing maintenance on their vehicles. We do it at a more affordable rate than shipping out, something that would need to be repaired. I'm a big shared services person.
No, I like it. I like it.
So
that's especially good now since New Jersey is making a huge push for it.
We need to. It's the only way we're going to continue to make taxes affordable.
Right.
Being in 70 different towns, you get to see like the best practices, and you get to make partnerships and collaborations to really get more stuff done. And I like to solve problems, and so there's no better place to be able to solve problems. We get things done, which doesn't always happen in Trenton or Washington, and we deliver zero budgets, and we innovate, and we have the ability to really be kind of a test tube for some really interesting programs.
Would you say that you have a professional mentor?
I have a lot of mentors.
Okay.
And not just professional. I mean, there's a lot of people whose opinions I value and have been really integral, I think, in kind of setting an example for what can get done. You know, Sybil Moses was one who was so wonderful to me when I became a judge. I think she wanted me to go in that direction more than going into the government, the political sphere. But she couldn't have been a better example and more encouraging as far as, you know, having a woman on the bench. Because when I was a municipal court judge, I don't think it's changed that much actually still, but there was only, in Bergen County, there were 70 municipalities. There are 70 municipalities. At the time I was on the bench, there were only 3 women.
Really?
On the municipal court bench. The day I was getting sworn in, she pulls out a bottle of Static Guard and shows me that this is the most important thing that I have to have because it makes sure that the robes don't stick to your clothes.
That's the best kind of advice. The stuff that you will actually use.
But she always encouraged me to do more, to be more active, to be more engaged, and to know to ask questions. When you talk about mentorship too, one of the things that we're trying to do more of in Bergen County, and I think others are trying to do this statewide too, is to bring more women into the conversation and to have to mentor other women. We have this organization in Bergen called We Do, where we set up somebody who's in elective office with a woman who's running. So they kind of serve as a mentor, and so there's always that safe person you can ask that question that seems really stupid but is never stupid. Like there really is no stupid question. And so to understand, especially as women, we have to have all of our homework done. It's great to have that kind of relationship to be able to have somebody to turn to.
Do you have a favorite restaurant in the area?
See, that's not fair.
What's your go-to? Like
So it depends. If it's raining, I like to have Thai food.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Is there a reason, or just because
that makes you feel good? No, it's just like comfort food.
Okay.
You know, it's like it's comfort food, and all of my assistants know this. Like if it's a downpour day, they're like, okay, so we're ordering Thai for lunch.
When you were elected to the Freeholder Board, did you have a welcome to the NFL moment where you realized, oh, I'm in the big leagues now? Was there a moment like that where like, oh, this is real?
I'm an attorney. I argue on my feet all the time. I could advocate for an issue. I could advocate, argue the fine points of the law on a second notice. But something about talking about yourself is very daunting. Yes. And I think that
because you're not passing the issue along to something else. You're not talking about something else. You're talking about and
you're exposing yourself in a way about how you feel about issues and putting that out there. But I think that's also has been a really amazing experience to realize that you can do something. Like you don't have to sit passively by and be a passenger. I mean, I'm being a passenger now, but you don't have to be a passenger. You can actually jump in, roll up your sleeves, and get something done, and have something to say about a lot of different issues that are going on. And I kind of think right now that's super important. And Absolutely. I think we're seeing more and more, especially young women, but young people in general. Like the whole March for Our Lives things was so inspiring. But this year, I actually had 6 young women as interns in my office. I never had an all girls group, But
That's amazing.
It really was. It was amazing to see how many young people are kind of just getting ready to step up and have their voices heard. When you ask me why I run for Freeholder, here's a spot where we can push back against some of these things. When we see cuts or challenges that are going to be created by some of the absences of government, those are the places where we can, step in. We in Bergen County were the first to end veterans homelessness. We're the first to end one of the first to end veterans homelessness. We are the first community to end chronic homelessness.
Really?
And we're now working on a project to target teenage and young adult homelessness. And it's, this is kind of in response to what we're seeing.
Absolutely.
Bringing partners together. It couldn't be done without the federal, state, local, but also with the business community and the banks and engaging kind of people to problem solve, because that's what government is.
Yeah. That's what it's supposed to be.
On its best day,
yes.
that's what government's supposed to do. It's supposed to solve problems.